So in the first two videos of this series, we created the basic start menu screen and a game over screen. And while they didn't look very nice, hopefully you can see how with little design chops you can make them pretty interesting. What we're going to do in this video is create different levels. We have level 1, which is just our basic brick level, and we're going to show how you can make different levels that can be more challenging and increase in difficulty as they go on, although we're just going to start with one additional level in this tutorial. Before we make our new scene, though, we're going to leverage the power of prefabs. So I'm going to organize this a little bit more. I'm going to take our walls and the roof and the water, and I'm going to organize them into sort of like the frame of our game. So I'm going to create an empty here. I'm going to call it frame, and then I'm going to take all those and I'm going to drag them into my frame game object. Now that I have that, it's all in one thing, I'm going to drag that up to my prefabs folder to make it a prefab. And now it shows up there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make the canvas a prefab. Remember that has our text objects like the game over and lives object. And I'm going to make my event system a prefab, my game manager a prefab, and I'm also going to make my camera a prefab as well. Because remember, I set my camera to have this background and I set the location of it. And again, while it's easy to duplicate, it's also just to show you that you could use it as a prefab as well. Okay, I'm going to save that level, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new scene. I'm going to save it as level 2. Make sure it ends up in my scenes folder. And now let's go ahead and add those prefabs that I just created back to the scene. So since I have a prefab camera, I'm going to go ahead and delete this since I don't need it. But I'll add it right back in with my main camera prefab. I'll put it right at the top here. Notice how it still is at the appropriate location and has the right color. And then let's go ahead and add back in the frame. And now there's the frame and the water as well. And let's add my canvas system back in place with my event system and then my game manager. And now I should have everything I need. Again, I don't want to add the bricks back in, because our game manager script handles that for us, but I want a new pattern of bricks. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new brick just by adding, oops, sorry, not empty. Well, I can do this right now. I'll call it bricks level 2. Again, I'm going to make this a prefab, and I want to distinguish it from my other bricks prefab that I have. So let's go ahead and add another brick. I'm going to go to Create, 3D Object, Cube. I'm going to call it Brick. And before I start laying out my pattern, I'm going to make this brick just like all the other bricks I've made. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the transform. I'm going to scale it to 2 in the X direction so it looks more brick-like. Remember the physics material we used was that bouncy material, so I'm going to go back to the materials and drag bouncy. And then because this brick can use the same brick script that we created before, let's go ahead and add that component. It's an already existing scripts. I'm going to choose bricks, and I am going to add my brick particle prefab to the script. So now when I duplicate this brick, it'll have all these pieces already in place. So I'm going to go ahead and create a pattern for this, and I'm going to speed this up a little bit so you don't have to watch me painstakingly recreate this pattern. So give me 1 second while I set this up. Okay, so you see I now have a pattern of bricks. It's not very great. I didn't color the bricks in. I leave it to you to make a more interesting pattern with more interesting bricks. Again, this is just to show the difference between the previous scene. So let's go ahead and put these bricks in our bricks level 2 game object, again, just for organization purposes. And I'm going to drag that up to the prefabs to make it a prefab. So I'm going to go ahead and in my game manager, you notice that a lot of these are not filled in. I'm going to go ahead and fill it in. We're not going to use the lives text, so but I'm still just going to drag that in because I don't want to leave anything blank for right now. Whoops, wrong thing, game manager. I'm going to put the game over text in. I'm going to put the U1 in. And the bricks prefab says bricks, which is what I used in my last level. I'm actually going to drag my bricks level 2 and replace that in my game manager. Okay, so everything should be set up. Again, we don't need bricks level 2 because the game manager script handles that for us. So we don't need the prefab in our scene. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Otherwise, we get duplicates of that. And then what we need to do in our game manager script is to tell it that when we beat the game, we've deleted all the bricks to go to the next level. Let's go ahead and take care of that really quickly. We're going to go to our game manager. We're going to go to the script component, edit the script. And in the check game over method, that's where I see if the bricks are all gone. Let's go ahead and just comment these out since we're not going to use this for right now. Again, I'm not going to delete it in case you wanted to come back and change it later. And again, all we want to do is when I beat the game, I want to go to the next level. So again, I'm going to use my scene manager. And I'm going to do load scene. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what my active scene is, and then I'm just going to say go to the next scene. So I'm going to use scene manager, get the active scene, and then the build index, so where it is in the build order, and just add 1 to that. Okay, so if I'm at my second scene, it adds 1 to it. Next you go to the third scene. So you can have multiple levels using the same game manager script, but we're only going to do 2 for right now. Okay, so I saved it. Let's go back to Unity. Oh, I want to do one more thing in my script. So again, it doesn't take forever to watch this. I'm going to, instead of bricks less than 1, I'm going to say bricks less than 16. So I only have to knock out a few bricks to go to the next level. Otherwise, you'd be watching for too long and that gets kind of boring. Okay, so I'm going to check my build scenes, my build settings. I'm going to make sure that I've added my scene to my build list. And I do it if yours does not appear, if your level 2 does not appear in your build settings, just go ahead and drag it from your scenes over to it, okay, and close it. So let's go ahead and go to my start menu. Let's just see how this is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to hit play. Okay, my start button works. So I go to my first level. You see I have like the regular pattern of bricks. And I am going to hopefully get 4 bricks without dying too many times. Ugh. And you can see when I hit the next brick, it goes to my next level. And now I'm at my next level, and I can keep playing the game. The only problem here is if I get 4 bricks, it goes to my quit menu. So I'd have to fix that in my script. Okay, so based on that basic breakout tutorial from Unity, we've gone ahead and added a start menu, a game over menu, and then an additional level. If you wanted to, you could have 10, 20, 30 levels in here with different challenges for the player. So hopefully you've learned a little bit about different scenes, and thank you for watching.